Authorities released new video of the person they've been looking for since May. This after 3 arsons at area Jewish centers, including 2 right here in Arlington. If you think you can help police find this male suspect, they want to hear from you. Tonight, the latest on the case and reaction from one of the victims. Here's a way to take advantage of the great outdoors this summer. Stretch and relax. Move the cows over. This is barn yoga, a 21st century celebration of fitness in the rustic confines of an 18th century structure. Stunning artistic displays captured in a new ACMi documentary by one of our most talented members. We'll show you how these massive creations and the work it takes to create them are no trip to the beach. We all know who the most famous occupant of this graveyard is, even though this inhabitant lies nearly 200 miles from Arlington, and we found the final resting place while getting lost. Who is this mysterious graveyard tenant?
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered. We're your neighbors, a friend you can turn to. This is ACMi News.
Hello, I'm Paul Werlin.
And I'm Eleni Kaminas. Federal authorities have released new video this week and are offering a $20,000 reward for information leading to the identity and arrest of the arsonist they say deliberately set 3 fires at Jewish centers in Arlington and Needham.
ACMi's Jeff Barnes has the latest on the new footage just released and reaction from Rabbi Avi Bucket, the director of the Jewish Center right here in Arlington.
It all began on May the 11th, approximately 11 p.m. Firefighters were called to a blaze at the Shabbat Center for Jewish Life in Arlington. The fire was quickly doused, and soon after, authorities concluded it was deliberately set. Less than 1 week later, shortly before 9 at night, firefighters and police were again called to the very same home for another similar fire on the driveway side toward the back of the building. That was also quickly extinguished. Roughly 1 hour later, the same night, authorities responded to a 3rd fire at a Jewish center in Needham. According to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, all 3 fires are the work of an arsonist, and now they believe it was the same suspect. The Boston division of the FBI this week released newly enhanced surveillance video of the person they're currently looking for. In the Arlington video taken May the 11th, 3 different cameras showed the man walking down Lake Street just a few yards from the Shabbat Center at the time of the blaze. Authorities say the male is approximately 5 feet 11 inches in height, and as you can see in these images, he's carrying some unknown items in what appears to be some sort of bag. In the Needham video, police say the same man is walking in front of the Shabbat Center toward the area where the fire was deliberately set. Less than 2 minutes later, he turns to gaze in the direction of the blaze, walks towards the street, down the sidewalk, and out of frame. This week, ACMi News talked to Rabbi Avi Bucket, who admits it's very unsettling to know, after 3 months, this arsonist is still out there.
I am curious and anxious to know what's going on as much as you. We as a center have moved forward in determining what's the best way to keep our center safe and to keep the people and the children, the youth that come here on a day-to-day basis safe and feel that they're secure. This is something that we as a community have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, where we have to realize that although there's the silent majority should always be the loud majority when it comes to love and community and unity. We always have to be aware that there are people out there that don't want us to spread that message of unity and want to keep that divisions up. But that's a minority. That's a small minority. So we have to always remember that. Remember that most people are good, and most people want for friendship and building community and unity, and that's what we have to focus on.
You may recall just days after those 3 fires, more than 500 members of the Arlington community packed Town Hall, showing solidarity and giving their support to the Bucket family. Since then, the side of the Jewish Center has been repaired. The rabbi tells us these hate crimes do absolutely nothing to deter him in his mission, and he's hoping the manhunt for the person who did this is now in the final stages.
An FBI spokesperson in Boston says although the surveillance video has given them something to work with, it'll be someone from the public who will give them the critical information they need to help solve the case. If you think you can help police in any way, you're asked to call the Arlington Police Department at 781-643-1212.
The good news is Arlington residents are using less water. The bad news, rates are still going up. Water and sewer rates will be on the rise next year. This after the Select Board approved the hikes in its July 22nd meeting. Town manager Adam Chapdelaine said despite residents using less water, Arlington still must keep up with the MWRA's rising assessments and Arlington's own capital costs. And a 7.5% increase in water and sewer rates should keep pace with expenses. Town leaders say the average Arlington home is billed around $700 annually based on fiscal 2019 rates. Under the new fiscal 2020 rate, expect that bill to jump another $50 a year. Some town leaders say Arlington's water use has decreased more than other surrounding municipalities. So next year, residents here may see the benefits of that because the town will have a lower share of the overall MWRA budget. The 7.5% hikes go into effect in the final 2 billing periods of fiscal 2020.
Last week, we told you about some new rules on what you can and cannot toss in the recycling bin. They just took effect July 1st, and you likely received a guide mailed to your home. This week, ACMi's Brenda Mahoney and the town's recycling coordinator have more summertime tips on what to do with those iced coffees, sunblock tubes, and cans of baked beans you so thoroughly enjoyed with your hot dogs.
I'm Brenda Mahoney with ACMi, and I'm here joined by Charlotte Milan with the town and the recycling coordinator for the town. Since it's summer, I thought that we would remind some folks about some maybe summertime things that we are consuming that are recyclable, or we may even have some things that are not recyclable on here. But one of them being, your iced coffees and your other beverages that come in the plastic containers.
So clear plastic containers that food came in are fine to recycle as long as they're clean. We ask that people remove the straws and dump out the liquid. Then you can put the top back on, and that can go in your recycling bin. And I see you've got a lot of tubs now, a lot of containers like this that might have shampoo in them. Mm-hmm. Shampoo has no toxins, but there may be some things in here that are preferably not food grade. So what we prefer people to do is put this in the trash, whether it's empty or if you've got one that's a tube like this, always goes in the trash. Any soft plastic like this always goes in the trash. And if there's any material left, that should also go in your trash. Shall I go through some of the other items?
Yeah, let's go through some other things.
So this is another way that people commonly purchase milk. This is still fine to recycle. I think you've got some cans here. Mm-hmm. Cans are always extremely recyclable. In fact, metal can be recycled over and over again, making it a very valuable material. Let's see, we have water bottles, plastic water bottles, always recyclable. You can put the top back on, that's completely fine. Glass jars, nice and clean. Good job, Brenda. So we want to make sure those are very, very clean for recycling. Medication bottles, as long as they're bigger than a credit card. So this is a good enough medication bottle.
Size.
Yeah, but at the little teeny orange ones, those get lost in the sorting facility. So better just to throw those away. They'll end up as trash anyway.
So plastic bags, we do have the ban now in place of selling plastic bags, but still some people might go to other vendors outside of town and so forth. And just a reminder that these cannot be recycled curbside, correct?
Exactly. But you can bring them to the recycling center. But I bring them to Stop and Shop and Whole Foods. So please do that. If it's a plastic bag where you can have a little give like this, that's fine for recycling. So bags from grocery stores, bread bags, produce bags, newspaper bags, and then also shipping bags are okay.
If you take the label off,
take the label off,
which is hard to do. You end up tearing it, but it's still okay to recycle it with it torn like this.
It is. But you have to be really careful because there's lots of plastics out there that will have these symbols. So definitely your plastic cups can go in curbside. Any soft plastic goes to the grocery store for recycling. But just because it has a recycle symbol on it, even if it's soft plastic, doesn't mean it's recyclable. You can tell by some other senses. This one is crinkly. Any kind of crinkly plastic, like a spaghetti bag, this kind of produce bag, should definitely go in the trash. There are more and more of these kinds of examples of confusing bags out there. What you're really looking for is a bag that's either very light in color or see-through that has a little give. When you push your finger through it, that is going to be your indication that you can take it back to the grocery store for recycling.
A lot of little details that actually go into this. How is Arlington doing with its recycling, by the way? Are residents, are we good at this, bad at this? What's?
I think we're better than average, let me tell you. Everyone's recycling for the most part, and we're really pleased with that. The enforced recycling is really working well, but people still put some things in the trash that they could be putting in recycling.
It actually is state law, has been for a while, to recycle what you can in each town.
And only the things that are recyclable, not just take wild guesses.
Right.
So let us know if you have questions. We can always answer those for you.
So we hope this educated you, and go ahead and you can educate yourself at arlingtonma.gov as well as recyclesmartma.org. So thank you for joining us. I'm Brenda Mahoney, and on behalf of Charlotte Milan and ACMi News.
A new Arlington business has signed on to make its presence known in town. Carbo Design has moved into 828 Mass Ave. This establishment specializes in all kinds of signs for indoors, outdoors, cars, trucks, buses, you name it. This owner, Ahmed Corsi's first Arlington business. He tells ACMi News he's had his eye on Arlington to set up shop for years, and now's the time.
I fell in love with Arlington. My coworker lives in Arlington, so I started to come in Arlington. Believe it or not, I fell in love with the place here. It's a great neighborhood, nice people. It feels like I was in Europe, you know, like I come from Europe, so it feels very like laid back, cozy, people are nice, and it's just like a welcoming neighborhood. I just want to do something positive for the neighborhood and be part of Arlington community, you know. This is our specialty, you know, so we do like a lot of buses, and let's say you have a company and you want to show what you want to do, so we make it visible for you. And it does work a lot. I mean, you'll see like trucks going through, it's like, oh my God. Instead of having a truck, it's like, has nothing on it. It's like you're wasting your money. Why don't you have like publicity on it, and it tells what you do for a living, and that's how you get connected with other people, you know. So that's what we do. We connect the businesses, and we get paid for it, you know. So.
Corsi tells us he's been slowly moving in for the past 2 months, and he intends to get set up and ready for business by the end of this month.
Last week, we told you about Joe Bertagna, an Arlington native who will be stepping down from his position as Hockey East Commissioner at the end of this year's hockey season. ACMi's Mike Cirillo has a closer look at Bertagna's beginnings in Arlington hockey, as well as his outlook for the future.
Eddie Burns made hockey and playing for the hockey team a real big deal. And it took you from, you know, backyard games or Hills Pond, Spy Pond, to a bigger stage, because Arlington was always flirting with state tournaments and Boston Garden and front page of the Globe Sports and things like that.
As he enters his final year as Hockey East Commissioner, Joe Bertagna remembers when he realized hockey would become his life. His white-hot passion for the sport began more than half a century ago, when he played goalie for Arlington High under the legendary Ed Burns.
I wanted to get into sports, and I tried to package myself as somebody who was as comfortable in the locker room with the players and the coaches as I was communicating and you know, having a potential for a full-time position.
Bertagna drew inspiration from carefully studying how Burns and Arlington's athletic director worked as a team. His former AHS teammate and football co-manager, Bob Bartholomew, is certainly not surprised that Bertagna is the longest-serving NCAA hockey commissioner in history.
Whether it's in Hockey East, or whether it's in the ECAC, or the coaches or the athletic directors, Joey is the best at communicating with them. He's very friendly, but like I said before, he's on target and very, you know, to the point.
And although his time at Hockey East will come to a close soon, Bertagna is still very much in the game. He will continue to serve on the American Hockey Coaches Association for the next 4 years.
When you're in your season and you're doing your work, you look at the clock and you realize, wow, it's 4:30 already. I got a lot of stuff I got to get done. And that's what every young person should hope for, that what you end up doing for a living is not tedious and something you can't wait to get home from, but that's when you're really happy, when you're at work, when you're getting things done.
The disciple of hockey turned master is still learning the complex sport. For Bertagna, he still insists on more ice time. Mike Cirillo, ACMi News.
Bertagna still takes to the ice from time to time, playing with the former Legends, a group of 60 seniors who are really good years after their prime. He also hopes to help organize the 2026 Olympic ice hockey tournaments in Italy.
If you walk, jog, or pedal along the Minuteman Bikeway, you already know it's the ideal place to get reacquainted with nature. Now, a local artist is helping to start the conversation about environmental health and sustainability. Freedom Baird has set aside some space along the bikeway to talk about how humans and nature intertwine with her work called Room to Grow. By marrying non-invasive plants with adopted furniture, Baird is raising questions regarding the origins of the elements used in her creation. Questions like, what kind of plants were used to create the chair, table, dresser, or bed? And how do the everyday materials we use and the objects we create fit into the biosphere?
Everything that you see here was some kind of mineral or plant before it arrived here in the shape that you see it here. So there's that juxtaposition, and then there's also thinking about not just materials but materialism, and that's why I made a kind of small, humble room with just enough furniture, because I've been thinking about, how much is enough? Like, how much do we need? How many chairs? How many windows? So the size of the room and the objects in the room kind of raise those questions as well. So the installation is going to be up through September 22nd, and there's a schedule of the Sundays that I'm going to be here throughout the rest of the summer, and you'll find that on the Arlington Public Arts website. So please go have a look. Come on out, stop by. I'd love to talk to you about the work and about art and sustainability. And we're also having a community potluck on September 15th right here at the site from 4 to 6 p.m. So come to that too, and we'll talk about art and sustainability there as well.
You'll find Baird's art along the bikeway just off the Spy Pond parking lot. Baird's creation and other works of art along the bikeway come courtesy of Arlington Public Art and the Arlington Commission on Arts and Culture.
It's amazing what you'll find when you want to get lost on a summer weekend. Such was the fate of ACMi's Jeff Barnd as he followed the advice of Horace Greeley and went west.
Western Massachusetts and New York State, to be more precise. That's when he got caught in a torrential rainstorm on his motorcycle, and then he stumbled upon, well, we'll let Jeff take the story from here.
So I decided to go away for the weekend, and I went to Western Massachusetts to see the Berkshires. I love the Berkshires. They're beautiful. And then I decided to cross into over the New York border and see what's in the Albany area and go north of Albany. I went to the Saratoga battlefield because I'm a history geek, and I decided to go there because I always wanted to go there because I wanted to see where Benedict Arnold was a hero before he became a traitor. Incidentally, forgive my helmet head. I brought my bike with me this time, and it's my motorcycle helmet. But then I was looking for other places in New York, and I came across something that is directly linked to Arlington, because you've probably been thinking, why are you doing this from New York? You're going to see in a second. Check this out. This, ladies and gentlemen, over here is the grave of Uncle Sam. Arlington native Samuel Wilson, better known as Uncle Sam to the world, is buried next to his wife Betsy Mann on these immaculately kept grounds at Oakwood Cemetery in Troy, New York, a non-sectarian plot of land that was founded in 1848. Legend has it Wilson hiked all the way to Troy and became very successful in the meatpacking business because of its close location to the Hudson River. Historians say he supplied the U.S. Army with barrels of meat during the War of 1812 and stamped his shipments with a U.S., which, as the story goes, gained him the moniker of Uncle Sam. Even though Sam was depicted by many cartoonists through the centuries, the iconic recruitment picture by artist James Montgomery Flagg during the First World War forever solidified Sam's likeness worldwide, which is why Uncle Sam is the most celebrated occupant at these hallowed grounds. Wilson's grave marker was erected in 1931 and is currently adorned with a patriotic wreath and flags presented by area veterans. Coins of well wishes from a steady influx of tourists top the marker, and cemetery officials say the nearby flagpole is manned by local Boy Scouts, who on special occasions will raise and lower the stars and stripes at sunrise and sunset. It's an inspiring story for Troy, New York, known as the home of Uncle Sam. In our nation's nearly 250-year-old history, Samuel Wilson has risen to near mythical status. But life also happens to those people history tends to elevate. So I'm getting ready to leave the cemetery now, and as I was leaving, I was looking at this placard there that basically just talks about some of the people who are buried here. And as I looked at the placard, I looked over to my left, and I saw this gravestone here. And I'll tell you about it in a second, but from what I hear, Samuel Wilson was a very genial fellow and very popular, and people liked him, and he was a great businessman, and a lot of people truly were rooting for him, and it's marvelous that he's now known as our Uncle Sam, but the fact that he was genial and successful does not mean his life was not full of tragedy. All of Samuel's success couldn't save the lives of two of his children. Daughter Polly succumbed to fever at the age of 8. Sam Jr. also died when he fractured his skull falling off a wagon at the age of 7. Still, Samuel Wilson would live in wealth and comfort to the ripe old age of 88 without ever knowing that he would be the U.S. manifestation of patriotism. An all-too American story peppered with some old lore that ends here, but began here, nearly 175 miles to the east. For ACMi News, I'm Jeff Barnd.
Another town claims Uncle Sam as its own. Mason, New Hampshire is where Samuel Wilson spent his boyhood.
His house is still there. It's a private residence, but there's a government landmark sign out front that marks the spot.
Coming up on the other side of the break, one area building that is known to safely house livestock is now an outdoor haven for the downward-facing dog. We'll take you to a farmhouse where people are aiming to keep in shape, which makes them stable. See what we did there?
And did you ever wonder why they're called the dog days of summer? Yep, it began with ACMi. Well, sort of. Fido Fest 2019 was a four-legged success. We'll take you there next.
If you see news happening in your area and you have a smartphone, you can see it, shoot it, send it. Make sure to hold your phone horizontally and send us your video. Or share your video with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just look for ACMi News.
For over 30 years, Arlington and Teosinte, El Salvador have been sister cities. We sell crafts made in Teosinte and we help kids in Teosinte to get a high school and college education. Through our partnership with the Arlington Public Schools, our children learn about life in another country and how we are more similar than different. Find out how you can get involved. Together we can learn the power of our shared stories and how they bolster both of our communities. Contact us at arlingtonteosinte@gmail.com or 781-643-0769.
If you're looking to improve your overall mental and physical health, no matter what your age, yoga can help you achieve your goals. It incorporates breathing exercises, meditation, and poses designed to encourage relaxation and reduce stress.
But if you can take advantage of a beautiful outdoor setting, worthy of a classic landscape painting, ACMi's Chelsea Swift says the relaxation really kicks in, and the stress is left way behind on the back 40.
Some yoga enthusiasts here say that outdoor yoga is a refreshing change from what's typically at a studio or gym. Here at Right Lock Farm is a perfect 21st century use for a 19th century barn.
Yoga is really a lot about harmonizing your mind, your body, your energy, and the beauty of doing that here at the farm is that we have this really beautiful connection to nature. There's this view where you can look out at the fields and there's chickens running around and sometimes a farm dog, and to be able to tap into the practice of yoga and even the meditative aspects along with this setting, I think can just be really harmonizing for students.
Brittany Burgess is a yoga instructor who came up with the idea to start teaching outdoor yoga at Right Lock Farm 5 years ago.
Each year it's grown a little bit, and I do get the sense that from students' feedback that it really brings them a sense of serenity and calm and empowerment, like it's all of that brought together in this place. Yoga is a really, really beautiful way to step back and be super present to like what are you experiencing, what are the sensations.
And what a great location to take in your surroundings. Arlington resident Lori Andrew-Scavage says the outdoor aspect is crucial to her summer yoga practice.
I feel like I can't go back to other yoga after I've done this. It's just so peaceful, both the inside of the barn and overlooking the farm.
If I kind of joke with people that yoga is like my workout, my therapy, and my meditation all in one.
There's only a few weeks left to experience this one-stop wellness shopping. Sunrise and Sunset Barn Yoga at Right Lock Farm will meet at 6 a.m. on Friday, August 30th, and Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. on August 20th and September 3rd. For ACMi News, I'm Chelsea Swift.
One of ACMi's premier members stormed the beaches of Hampton, New Hampshire recently, and she came back with a dynamic story.
The 19th annual Sand Sculpting Classic attracted 10 artists from all over the country as they allowed their imagination to run wild on the beach. Margie DeMonte captured these beautiful and, unfortunately for us, temporary works of art and created her documentary. They're ephemeral, that's the whole point. Watch as these artists begin creating despite not so great weather conditions.
Day one of sculpting begins. The day is cold, it's rainy, and very foggy. This is where their physical endurance begins and is being tested. The competitors have 3 days to complete their work. 8 hours a day, a total of 24 hours to finish their masterpieces before being judged. This is day 2 of sculpting, another rainy day and cloudy.
Do you want to find out what happens on day 2 and beyond? Watch Margie DeMonte's brilliant half-hour documentary, They're Ephemeral. That's the whole point. All you have to do is go to acmi.tv and enjoy.
They walked the red carpet striking their best poses, some dressed to the nines. But the stars at a recent film screening at Spy Pond were of the four-legged variety. Arlington's 3rd annual Fido Fest, ACMi's Dog Video Festival, took place August 3rd, staged by our fine dog lovers right here at ACMi with the help of A-Dog, Arlington Dog Owners Group.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, walking over time.
No one was crying all the time. Stanley and the Undercovers belted out tunes all with doggy themes, while children chased bubbles and pondered this realistic-looking pooch. The star attractions, of course, were the dogs. After awards were given out for the best in show, it was time for their moment on the silver screen. Loyal bipeds submitted videos of their canine owners doing tricks. Everything from classic ball chasing and retrieving to the more slobbery intake of copious amounts of watermelon. And even some Esther Williams-like jackknives off the dock. This one received a perfect 10 from the Russian judge. You and your dog, if your pooch has opposing thumbs, can log on to acmi.tv for a full look at Arlington's best canines. You'll laugh, you'll love, you'll cry. Trust us, it'll be better than cats. Don't believe us? Ask your dog.
That'll do it for us here in Studio A. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Paul Werlin.
And I'm Eleni Kaminas. We'll see you next week.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.